This video is about real-world flying tips for the Antigravity A1 drone. For beginners, there's a big difference between what looks easy in the promo videos you watch and what actually happens when you step outside in the real world. You're putting your goggles on, you're dealing with the wind, the distance, your altitude, the battery life, and everything else you have to think about when you're flying for the first time. So whether you've just unboxed your first drone or whether this is the first time that you've been flying with goggles, the tips in this video will help you fly safer, smoother, and with a lot more confidence. When you're ready to fly for real with this thing, take your time with the setup. Get the goggles sitting comfortably, adjust the straps, and get that power pack in a good spot around your neck. You can slide the lenses to set your eye spacing and use the tiny focus knobs to adjust for your eyesight. So just adjust these until everything looks sharp. Don't rush this part, because if the goggles don't feel right, then nothing else will feel right while you're flying. And if the lenses steam up, you can actually defog the goggles by turning on the internal fan. Unfold the antennas and then power everything up in this order: drone first, then goggles, and then the controller. And this order keeps everything connected properly. And before you fly, make sure you do a quick check. So make sure the propellers are secure, the battery's secure, the body is clean. Make sure you've got a micro SD card in the drones and in the goggles. The goggle recording records your headset POV and all your telemetry. You've also got built-in storage in the drone and in the goggles. So this gives you a great backup if you run out of space on your memory card. Just remember to start recording on the drone and inside the goggles. And I am talking from experience because I've forgotten to do that myself. Recording on the drone you can activate via the controller, and then recording in the headset you need to do inside the goggles. Make sure to wipe the lenses clean. There is a lens cloth in the box, but I'd pick up a couple of extra ones like this as well, plus a large cloth for wiping down the drone itself before you put it away. Check the battery levels. Ideally you want everything fully charged, but at the very least you want 3 LEDs lit on the drone, goggles and grip. Stick with the official goggle batteries and get a spare if you can, or at least get a power bank to top it up whilst you're driving or in between flights. Keep the firmware and the Antigravity app updated. You'll be prompted to do this, but ideally check before you leave home. And when there's an update, you'll also have to update the batteries too, so bear that in mind. You just put each battery one at a time into the drone and just follow the prompts. Before you take off, make sure to clear the area. So no bags, boxes, dogs, kids, or trip hazards. If you can, get a spotter with you as well. This is a legal requirement for flying with goggles in the UK, and it may be where you are too. Always use a flat open surface for takeoff. No long grass or sloped ground, and if you can find a slightly elevated position to take off and land, this will help with the line of sight with your drone, but also reduces the interference from buildings and trees. Avoid launching this from a boat unless you're really experienced. As soon as the boat moves, your home point may move as well, and auto return to home may land in the water. And if you've got time, do a recce of the location that you intend to fly in. Check the location on Google Maps, Google Earth, and use a drone app like Drone Assist. Look for military zones, airports, helipads and restricted airspace, and just be careful flying near pylons or substations or anything that's pumping out a lot of electricity, because they can interfere with the drone's compass and cause it to act unpredictably and maybe drift. Compass drift can occur without electrical interference as well, so if you get a compass calibration warning, you can recalibrate your compass by going here in the menu under safety settings and following the instructions. And only calibrate the compass when you're prompted. Even though this drone is under 250 grams with the standard battery, this doesn't just give you a free pass to fly anywhere you want. You can't take off from private land without permission. There are still no fly zones, military areas, airports, and places like national parks where drones are sometimes banned to protect wildlife. And in parts of the Lake District, when jet fighters are training, they fly as low as 100 feet. And yes, technically you can fly over people and over roads, but it doesn't mean that you should. If you can't control it, then it's a risk as far as I'm concerned. And in the UK you still need a flyer ID, and if your drone has a camera then you also need an operator ID as well. And I'd always recommend drone insurance. It's cheap, it's around $24.99 for a hobbyist, and if you're flying commercially, even if you're making money from your YouTube channel, then you'll need commercial insurance. When you're ready to fly, the first thing that I check is whether the home point is locked in, and that's your safety net. Take off visually at first, don't pull the goggles down straight away. Get the drone up to around 6 meters, let it hover, make sure everything feels stable. If anything feels off, then land immediately. The best time to fix a problem with a drone is when it's right in front of you, not when it's 200 feet away. For your first flights, go into the settings and reduce your maximum altitude and your maximum distance, because this will create an invisible wall around your flying area and it will stop you from going too far while you're still learning. Once everything feels good, then pull the goggles down and enjoy the view. And if you need to look around without removing the goggles, you can switch to pass-through mode, and it gives you a live view of your surroundings, and you can do that by double pressing the button on the goggles. Go into the goggles safety settings and set your return to home altitude higher than the tallest tree or the tallest building nearby. If you lose signal, the drone will climb first and come back second, which is exactly the behavior you want. If return to home kicks in and you want to take control again, you can cancel it with a quick tap of the return to home button. And when landing, always be ready to take over manually. The auto land can misread shiny floors or long grass or gravel, anything reflective or uneven. And the official landing pad is really good. It folds up and goes into your bag, and the contrast is recognized by the software as you come into land. So you can then select the landing pad in the goggles. I always head back at around 25 to 30% battery. This gives you a safety buffer, especially if the wind picks up or if you've flown further than you thought. At around 15% battery, the drone may try to return to home on its own, and at 5% it will just land wherever it is. So don't push the battery too much. And if you're really battling with the wind and you need to return home, then try switching over to sports mode. This will give you more power and more speed. Remember though that this will disable the obstacle avoidance, so only use sports mode if you're more experienced and more confident. The charging hub for this drone has smart power pooling, which is brilliant. Press and hold the button and it will take power from the low batteries and then move them into the fullest one. So you end up with one solid battery rather than 3 weak ones. You can also tap the button once to use the hub as a power bank to charge your phone, for example. The drone has 3 flight modes and each one feels a bit different when you're in the air. You have normal mode, and this is where you'll probably spend most of your time when you're learning, and it keeps everything nice and stable and predictable. And then you've got cinematic mode, and this slows everything down a bit. It softens your movement so the drone glides more and stops you making jerky corrections, and this is great for smoother footage. And then you've got sports mode, and this basically wakes the drone up. It's faster, more sensitive, takes longer to brake, and obstacle avoidance is completely turned off. If you're flying indoors or in tight spaces, for extra safety, you can add prop guards. In terms of camera settings, you can select here in the goggles, and to get the best quality images, you'll want to set the bitrate to high, and then shoot in the highest resolution of 8K. Because that resolution is shared around the entire 360 image. So when you reframe in one direction to make an ordinary video, remember that the resolution is a lot less. So the higher the resolution we can start with, the better the final video. One exception to this rule is if you're shooting in low light. Lower resolution modes can look better in low light simply because the camera has to process less information, and this helps to keep the noise levels down. Personally, I'd avoid shooting in low light situations so that you can maintain the maximum resolution possible. On bright sunny days, you can reduce the EV, so the exposure value, to minus 0.3 or minus 0.7 or even up to minus 0.1, and this will reduce the brightness of the sky and give you more definition in the clouds without having a negative effect on the rest of the image. Changing the EV, you're basically lowering the auto exposure threshold. Once you're comfortable with the basics with this drone, that's when the fun really begins. So don't just shoot up as high as you can go unless there's a need. The height flattens everything, and all these shots that I did were taken at no higher than 100 feet and as low as 10 feet. There's no rule here, but just be mindful of what shots you're getting. The best shots usually happen lower down when you've got more foreground, so trees, fences, the ground, anything that adds movement and depth. Remember, with this drone, the closer you are to your subject, the faster and more intense the movement will feel. If you're higher up, everything smooths out and looks more cinematic. Remember that because you're using a 360 camera, you don't have to think so much about your framing. As long as you fly near or past your subject, you will be able to keep it in shot, because you can reframe it in the edit. Using 360 for filming makes the process very efficient because you can shoot one shot and create several clips without having to reshoot. One thing to remember though is that these lenses are super wide, so if you're wanting to track a person, for example, you need to get quite close, otherwise they will look tiny in your shot. Before you take off, it helps to have a rough plan. Nothing complicated, just a simple idea like you're going to fly along that row of trees, or you're going to follow this flight path or that flight path. A bit of intention beforehand will make your flying look more purposeful. Inside the goggles, you've also got the virtual cockpit. And this is a bit of fun where you can add like a dragon to the user interface with inside your goggles. And one of the best features is that you can watch your flight directly back in the goggles as soon as you land. So you can re-experience everything that you've just shot. It's great for checking how your flight looks without having to wait until you get home. The easiest way to edit your footage if you're new to 360 is in the app. Use the quick reader to import your footage and then simply select the edit icon here and you'll see several editing templates. Select one and it will tell you how many clips that you need in order to use the template. To start with, use the mirror sky template or the sun halo template, as these only need one clip, but it will give you a very quick win and it will show you what these templates can do. Once you have more clips to play with, then select something like A1 title sequence, which needs 6 clips. The AI will reframe your shots and add music and create a short finished video. And if you want to reframe any of these shots within your final clip, you simply select the shot at the bottom here and then swipe on the screen to choose a different angle. You can use your footage in a 16:9 format for YouTube or in 9:16 for Instagram, YouTube Shorts, etc. And you can change this by selecting at the top here. Let me know which is your favorite tip and share your tips in the comments below. And if you want to find the best accessories for your anti-gravity drone, then you'll want to watch this video next, and I'll see you over there.